It's Russell back with Gwinnett Lawns in beautiful, and cloudy, and probably getting ready to rain, Atlanta, Georgia. Today is December the 16th, 2023, and on today's video, I am going to be doing the annual maintenance for the Echo PB9010T. Right there. So this blower has just 7 hours shy of 450 hours, and no problems, none. This maintenance that I'm going to show you is so easy, and I don't know why you would take this to have your dealer do it. Maybe because you don't know, but I'm going to show you how easy this is and how fast it is to do. So let me get my tools together, and I'm going to show you the kit that we're going to use that Echo already has available without buying all the parts separately, and you can do the maintenance and lickety split. So let's do it. All right, so this is the kit that Echo has for the 8010 and the 9010Ts. It comes with the air filter, both the paper pleat and the foam pre-filter. It comes with the spark plug, and it comes with the fuel filter. The part number on this, if you have one of these, is 90194Y. And what we're going to do first, which is probably going to be the easiest thing to do, is we will use the factory Echo air filter and the pleated, or not the pleated, the foam pre-filter, right? So if you're not familiar with how to do this, these two latches pop right off. This lifts off. Your foam pre-filter is here. Now I have washed this out several times. So it's not that dirty, but it does catch the big chunks of anything that gets in there. So here is the dirty side. Here's the clean side. This filter is probably still serviceable, but we're going to just replace it anyway. So I'm going to take the pre-filter, and it just goes into the top cap like this, or the top cover. And then we will take the pleated filter, pop it right in there. It's got a nice tight foam slash rubber seal, and then this just lays right back on like that. There we go. That's it. So I do the same thing as I've showed y'all before in the mower, is I will periodically knock this out, tap it on the concrete, and then try to do a little bit of vacuuming. So not a bad job at all right there. Let's do the fuel filter next. Now the fuel filter, if you're not familiar, is inside the tank. So you can take the cap off. I have already emptied the tank out. The Echo caps, you'll just pull them out. They have this captive little flexible disc that keeps the cap from falling out. And then down inside here, you see that hose? At the end of that hose is the fuel filter. And what the fuel filter looks like on these is this element right here. Now I have, I believe in my 8010Ts, I've never had one of these fuel filters clog up. I'm very particular to make sure there's no debris getting in or out of the tank, but it will get a little bit. So the trick to getting this out, obviously you can't reach in there with your hand to get it, but I'm going to show you a little trick, and I'm going to show you the tool I'm going to use next. This right here, I'm going to show you. This is called a third hand. You have a spring-loaded plunger right here, and on this end you have a claw. You got a claw coming out. This is the most useful thing you'll ever use in your life. So I'm basically just going to stick this down there. I'm going to grab the hose, and then I'll pull it up just so I can get my finger on it. I'm going to pull the hose up just like that, and there is our fuel filter. You can try doing a screwdriver. If you had a screwdriver with a little hook on the end, you could use that, but this is just, it's stupid easy. So on the end of this hose is a tiny little, almost it's like a little spring. So I'm going to see if I can manipulate this down. It's best to use a little screwdriver if you want, if you can do it without damaging the hose. So this is all you need, just a little flat blade screwdriver. And if you'll just very gently just pry this down like this. Okay. If you've got a little plastic trim tool, you could use that. And it's just like a 1.5 coil of a spring. This pulls out just like that. Keep your finger on this spring so it doesn't drop down and you lose it forever. Take the fuel filter. Let's put it right back on the hose there. And then this is where you really need the screwdriver. Just kind of work it side to side. Back down on the end of the hose. And you probably can't see this, but there is a tiny little barb at the end of this fuel filter, and that's, you're trying to make sure that the spring is on the fuel filter side, just so it holds the hose. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, we've got it, because you can see the outline. And then when you're done, just take this and drop it back down in the tank. You don't need to do anything, because once you fill it back up with gas in your premix, it'll move around as you move around. All right, so that's those two items. So let's do the hardest part, which would be the spark plug. All right, so this plug right here is the factory NGK plug. Please don't use any cheap Chinese plugs. Plugs do make a difference. In fact, I wouldn't even use a Champion or something like that. NGKs are super strong plugs. It uses a 5/8, a regular 5/8 socket. And one thing I forgot to tell you guys is make sure to put the fuel fill cap back on. Just squeeze this a little bit, drop it down in there, put it back on. Okay, so to do the spark plug, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. Let me go get the trash can and switch tripods. All right, trash cans make awesome camera holders. All right, so the spark plug on the Echo is under here. You are going to very gently take this boot, which is kind of hard to pull off. This one hasn't been off in at least a year. If you're very careful, you can take your flat-bladed screwdriver and just give it a little pry. But just be really careful. The boot has a tendency to stick to the plug itself. All right, so there's not a lot of room, so I'm just gonna rotate this just like this. I'm gonna put just make sure there's no debris right there, and I'm going to take the plug off like this. Okay, plug is out, and there's the plug. It looks phenomenal. Here's the new plug. I'm sure there is a gap on this. It doesn't, there's a little sticker here that tells you the plug, but I don't know what the gap is. Let me go do a quick internet search and see if we can find the gap of this and test it real fast. Alright, so a quick internet search tells us, I don't know if you can see this, but the spark plug gap for all Echo products is between 24 and 26 thousandths. So I've got my feeler gauge here, 24, 25, and 26 thousandths. Okay, it's not 24, it's a little more, 25. Okay, 26 is nice and snug. So the spark plug is properly gapped out of the box. I would still check yours when you have yours. So before I put this in, do you want to see what the inside of a 450 hour blower looks like? Well, I sure do. Let me get my borescope and let's look. Alright, so I've got my borescope here, and let me put this down here, and if I see anything interesting, I'll tell you before. Oh wow. Now what I'm doing is I'm manipulating the piston. I'm going to show you guys this in a minute. This is phenomenal. Alright, so hopefully the camera will pick this up. I don't know if there's too much glare, but right here's the piston, and I'm going to pull the rope. So you can see here comes the piston coming up. Okay, it is extremely clean. If you'll look on the cylinder walls, you can still see the factory crosshatch. There's actually, and I'm going to switch to a side view. Let's get the other side. So this camera barely fits in here. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're looking at the side of the, let me turn this light down just a hair. Off. That's full bright. And it's not making much difference, but that's the side. You can see the crosshatch pattern. And then if I switch it back to the straight down view, there's the ports. There's intake ports and the exhaust ports. I don't know which way the camera's, let's see, I don't know which way it's facing, but the piston coming back up. Let me switch views. Back to the top down view. Okay, so there's the piston again, there's the cylinder wall, and I hope the camera's picking this up. But the piston is very, very clean. It's there's no scoring on the cylinder wall whatsoever, and I'm very pleased. 450 hours at using the Amsoil Sabre at 100-to-1 mix. So for those that say if you use less oil than 50-to-1 you're going to run your engine, well, here's proof. And you can also see that the exhaust is extremely clean. So for all you steel guys out there, you need to give the Amsoil Sabre a try, because steel has a problem with plugging up the exhaust screens. Alright, so I'm going to take the plug, we're going to put it back in. And do this part by hand first, please. Never use a powered tool to put the plug in. It's very easy to cross thread these plugs because they're kind of at a funny angle. And the head obviously is aluminum. The plug threads are steel, so it's very, very easy to cross thread these. So I'm going to twist this in as far as I can by hand. Then I'm going to take the socket and twist it in further by hand. Please don't put anything on the plug threads. You really don't even need never sees. You could use some of that if you wanted, but don't put any oil or anything. And then when this goes on, just snug it up. That's it. So, and grab the close to where the head of the ratchet is, so you don't over torque this. So this is the hardest part of the job, at least on the Echo, is trying to get the boot back on here. I don't like that there's no room to work with, but that's what they designed it like, so we'll just have to make it work. There we go. This not only has to go in the plug, but it also has to fit back in the plastic case here. Okay. New plug, new air filter, new fuel filter. All right, so let's hear this thing run. And let me get some fuel back in here and we'll crank it and see how it runs. All right, so I've got some fuel in it. I've primed it with the primer bulb, and it's about 50 degrees out. Oh, there's one more thing I forgot to show you guys. I didn't show you how to adjust the valves. I forgot. Echoes don't have valves to adjust. Just poking a little fun at the steel people. We love you anyway. So, yes, that is correct. Echoes, Huskies, and Red Max, and probably some others, they don't have valves. In fact, maybe only the Steels have valves. Anyway, I hope that this video has helped you, maybe helped you to think about doing your own maintenance. This kit is like, it's like 30 bucks, $32, something like that. You only need to do it once a year. But please do it. Two strokes, pure two strokes, they just need to have clean air, a good plug, and fresh fuel. That's it. That's pretty much it. They run and run and run. They'll run wide open all day for you. As long as you've got the carb adjusted, they're a little bit lean from the factory. You can richen it up. I have a video on how to do that. But once you get that sorted out, man, these things will run flat, wide open for hours on end. I think the longest I've ran that blower was probably for 4 hours straight. I stopped only once an hour, about 55 to 60 minutes. I stopped once every hour to fill the tank up and went wide open. I use a cruise control on it and just go. So they're very doable. And as hopefully you could see from the borescope that we did, that the inside of the cylinder, it's phenomenal looking. The piston looks good. There's no carbon deposits. There's no scoring on the side of the cylinder walls. And people would say, well, you run 100 to 1, you're going to mess your engine up. That would be true with other oils, but not the Amsoil Saver. It's good stuff, so you should try it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you on the next one.